Hello and welcome back to another video on my channel. My name is Tinnitus Coach Frieder, the guy who was born deaf on his left ear with a hearing aid and severe high-pitched tinnitus in his remaining right ear. And in today's video, I want to focus on the moment, or more like the time in which my tinnitus stopped bothering me, and what kind of concepts and ideas play a very crucial role when we want to go from bothersome to non-bothersome tinnitus. Welcome. So let me tell you, in this video, it would be really important if you could like and subscribe and leave me in the comment what was most useful about this video for you in your own tinnitus journey. If you're currently struggling with it, let me know what you are currently struggling with so I can answer in the comments and maybe give you a little bit of an insight from my many years of coaching and working with people with tinnitus. And finally, it helps the channel grow and more people get relief from tinnitus if you subscribe. So thank you very much, and let's jump into the transformation and the work that's being done of what we can do to get better and go to non-bothersome tinnitus, even when tinnitus gets louder. And I'm going to tell you some personal examples of when my tinnitus got louder and yet I habituated and got a lot better with it. Okay, so to go back to the start, basically, I did it in the last video last week where I shared my story of 100,000 YouTube subscribers. Thank you all for your support again, and very glad that we reached this milestone. But my personal story, of course, led me to that, right? So the time when I realized my tinnitus wasn't going away, the moment that I had in Amsterdam after dancing in front of the speaker and my earplug had fallen out, and tinnitus ramping up and getting so bad, and the shame that comes with having this ear doesn't work, I only have one ear in which I also now have a hearing aid, and I've screwed that up as well. So that fear, shame and guilt that comes with these moments is something that is deeply normal for us to, cause a lot of internal trouble, like anxiety, feelings of loneliness, feelings of how am I going to deal with this, etc. And before I share with you, right, how do I start living again, and what do I do, and what do I recommend also to the people who come into our 12 weeks program, or the people that I work with on a regular basis in the one-on-one coaching, etc. By the way, the new cohort starts in January. If you go to Habituate online, you will see how many remaining spots we have on the waiting list. And I'm not doing any coachings anymore in December, just finishing up the year, and then the new cohort starts in January. So it's not really like what the tinnitus sounded like, right? Because you guys probably do not care that much, but or you do care, and I can tell you I can hear it over a 4-lane street outside, right? So it's quite intense, especially when I take the hearing aid out. I can hear it literally everywhere, but it doesn't bother me. So the most important thing is that I described to you how did I feel back then, right? And to also show you a little bit the process of how did I feel back then, and what were the things and steps that I took and that the people in my tinnitus.club or in my coaching program take in order to habituate to that tinnitus. So, at the start, of course, like every one of us, I was super stuck in the general loop of Googling, monitoring all the time, looking through forums, trying supplements that by now we know most of them debunked that they have no significant or very beneficial effects for your tinnitus, to mask or check for the loudness or how it affects me in silence, and so on and so forth, right? And of course also the fear and panic of spikes or it getting worse, etc. So that was really the time, first of all, when I was 19 and the ENT said that I had done this damage and there was nothing much we could do now. And then 5 years later when I was 24 and I had done some more damage, and that's when the fear and the panic was the most, right? Because that's when the tinnitus really ramped up and got to the level it is now, but now I'm fully habituated. 11 years ago I wasn't, and I had all these difficult moments. So the moment where I really did realize that I could start you know, having the same life as someone who does not experience tinnitus was when I sort of like stopped fighting with everything I had, right? I stopped constantly masking it. I stopped talking to doctors, and I started to continue my life. I went away on travels. I did after finishing my bachelor's, I did my exchange semester in South Korea. I went to Mexico for work for a little bit. I went to do a master's degree in South Africa with my best friend. So it was only, so it's not like one single key moment, but it is this overall circumstance in which I realized that I can experience tinnitus, but I don't need to get rid of the sound in order to continue living my life. And this was like the most important shift, because before I was constantly stuck in this monitoring, in this back and forth tug of war with the tinnitus, you know, also some bad nights, etc., concentration, all of this, right? This constant tug of war is so tiring. So that when I finally decided to let go of that, that's when the first moments came in of like, of course the hearing aid was a big help, because, you know, if you need a hearing aid, then it reduces the intensity that you experience from tinnitus when there is sound, because you hear more sound from the outside. But it's really, really important that for the first time I stopped fighting tinnitus. And my brain basically said like, okay, well, maybe if he doesn't fight and he doesn't monitor and he doesn't review and he doesn't Google and try and, you know, problem solve the whole time, maybe then this isn't as dangerous as I thought. And what I mostly tell you in mostly all of my videos is that the real problem we have with tinnitus is not the tinnitus itself. It's the way the tinnitus makes us feel, and we think about the tinnitus that it does certain things, like we're not able to relax or something, and then we have a self-fulfilling prophecy. We try to relax, but the tinnitus gets in the way. So, and this of course is a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like the chicken and the egg question. What was there first? You not being able to relax, or your thought about the tinnitus not letting you relax? I can, by the way, very nicely relax. I love doing a meditation in the afternoon, sitting quietly just with my tinnitus blaring away. So this is the most important part where my tinnitus journey changed. And I need to say that this is something that is possible for everyone, for every single one of you. Because we've talked a lot about the dog bite, right? And the Pavlov's conditioning, right? And our brain gets used to certain ways of responding to things. In this way, the brain gets used to responding to tinnitus in a particular way. And when the brain learns to respond to tinnitus with negative thoughts and feelings, then that is the go-to solution for the brain when tinnitus appears or when we perceive it. So when you read something or when the doctor tells you there's nothing we can do, then you have another stepping stone of proof that you are in a terrible misfortune, right? So it's very, very important that you realize, though, on the other hand, we have the possibility to, for example, move to a new place. At the start, we can't sleep because there's an airport or there's a train service running nearby. And after 1 week, you don't even hear the planes or the trains anymore, right? Because your brain secretly has adopted the tag safety, right? You can sleep despite the sound. Okay, and this is the same that we can do, right? The same neuroplastic processes that can build in response to our tinnitus, but not if we continue to fight. And I want to just tell you a couple of things. Like, first of all, this is not luck, right? This is not like me being lucky, finding something that worked for myself, but it is, you know, if you're human and you have a brain, then you can habituate to tinnitus 100%. I said it now and I said it again. If you're human and if you have a brain, you can habituate to tinnitus. And that you have spikes and that you have setbacks and that sometimes fear creeps back in and old feelings and difficulty is an absolutely normal part of the process. It's something that every single person and most people that I see in my coaching or also in the community go through. So let me just give you a couple of things that you can do instead of fighting your tinnitus. And these are like some short introductory things. And of course, you can always check out my free resources and my program resources at www.habituate.online. That's HABITUATE.online. biuate.online, habituate.online. So instead of fighting tinnitus, one very effective thing is describing the feelings instead of letting them, fighting them with everything you have, right? So describe the feelings instead of being like, oh, this is the sound, right? Just describe the feelings that you experience in that moment. Because the one thing is the physiological experience of tinnitus, and the other thing is an emotional and cognitive response that you have to tinnitus. So grounding yourself is a second one. Put your feet onto the floor, straighten up your back, move your body a little bit, feeling control, right? Tinnitus is not in control of you. Your thoughts and emotions basically run away with tinnitus, but you are in physical control of your body. And let thoughts be thoughts, right? I'm saying this all the time, like, it would be nice if I had won the lottery and I'd be able to go and buy myself a Porsche 911. I'd love those things. But I haven't. It's a nice thought, but it's not true. And the same is true for negative thoughts. This will ruin my life, it will never get better. Is that true? No, absolutely not. But it seems like this is ruining you. Whereas this thought that an emotion follows, and there you have your whole reaction. And reconnecting with life is really the one that helped me the most and helped me to get back into everything that I was doing before, enjoying life, traveling, doing my studies in exactly the way I wanted to. And stopping the check if it's still there habit is so important, because yes, it will still be there. And if your goal is not to experience tinnitus and you have chronic tinnitus, then you will fail at that goal, because you will always have a negative reinforced input, meaning yes, it is still there. So, the stopping is not something that you do like, I have to stop doing it. It's something that you say, okay, I know I check sometimes, but I don't need to do it. I'm still safe. And then the final step that I want to tell you is engaging with community. And this is the part where I can tell you I built mytinnitus.club because I believe in community. I believe that people have the power to lift each other up and get better together. So I believe in community, I believe in doing things together, and I believe that every single person has an individual way of habituating through their tinnitus, combining the resources that we provide in a place that is safe, with weekly group coaching, with a buddy system where you get paired with other members. And if you want to do the shift, then I can only encourage you to go to habituate.online, check out my free 4-day email course, or also join us at mytinnitus.club. And the final thing that I'm going to say today is that habituation did not happen because I forced it. And it happened because I stopped treating tinnitus as a threat that I needed to fight constantly. And this is the most important thing for me, and there are an array of tools that I've developed later on based on acceptance and commitment therapy, which I'm incredibly fond of, and you can see all the success stories here also on YouTube with people that have completed the program, and I would love for you to check it out. All right. Thank you very much for tuning into this week's video. I hope that it was useful for you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you think of this technique and what you think. You will probably say easier said than done, and I will say yes, but it is a process and it is a very, very valuable one, and you can do it too. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.